Welcome back to another video. In my continuing efforts to show off my painted armies, I bring you my 6mm Baccus Gaulish Horde. It could be Germanic, but it's meant to be from Gaul. These were painted many years ago when I had a lot more time on my hands. My eyes were better, my shaky hands were better, or less, I guess. And my basing style was different. Now I use different types of grass, I use different types of glue, I use some grit, some stones, some flour, tufts, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that you do nowadays, but back in the days, 15 years ago, those weren't what I wanted. I just wanted a tub of grass, I soaked the base in glue, and I just stuck them in, chuck them around, and this is what you got, this kind of green, pasty looking flock. Doesn't look like grass, really. Hard to describe. Most of my armies, especially my 6mm armies, I have rebased over their lifespan. This is not one of them. I have rebased all my Macedonians, all my Seleucids, all my Romans, my Carthaginians, and I've rebased them more than once. I rebased them based on the rule set that seems to be in fashion at the time. Back about 12 years ago or so, when these were based, the rule set for 6mm figures that was in fashion was Warmaster Ancients. And I liked that set of rules. Something about it, though, it lacked a certain bit of detail. It felt very generic. All the armies felt kind of samey. I know the stats were different, obviously, but the activation of basically like brigades. So, for instance, here the warriors are in groups of 3, or 3, depending on which way you want to count. They're in groups of 3, and 3 groups is kind of like a brigade. The activation system for this, for those of you who know Warmaster Ancients, was kind of like activated around these brigades, and for some reason, low morale troops or low activation leaders, I guess, had a bad habit of never activating in a whole battle. So this Gaulish army, although it was based for Warmaster, I never actually played a game with it. Well, that's not true. I did play one game with it, and I found that getting it to activate and physically move forward and attack just never seemed to work. So that kind of abstract rule set, although popular at the time, kind of fell out of favor with the people that I knew. And therefore, this army got packed away into its case, never to see the light of day again. Went down into the dungeon, and that was that. All the other armies got rebased for various rule sets because, A, they were more popular to play. I always loved the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Greeks, the Phalanx. I loved all that kind of stuff. And the Gauls weren't as popular. I don't know why that is, why I didn't do that, but I never rebased them because I never felt like, I wanted to take the time to rebase them, because this is a lot of figures. This is 1,100 figures just here, and I have more. This is just the full-size units. I have about 300 more, but they're sitting in various stages of completeness. I never wanted to take the time to snip all these units off their bases and rebase them. And it was always a project for another day. I'll do that another day. And it never happened. So here they are in their current state, just to show off. If there was a weird cut in there, I apologize. My cat jumped on my table here and shook everything. And tried to pull down my light stands for some reason. He's addicted to them. I guess because they're warm? I don't know. But here, let's just get a closer look at what we have here. So essentially what we have is we've got 5 brigades, or 5 blocks, of Gaulish warriors, and I'll get in close in a second. We have 4 units of javelin, so 2 out here and 2 in the foreground, and 2 archer units. To the left over here of me, we have 3 units of heavy Gaul cavalry, and to the right, 2 units of Gaul light cavalry. Essentially, there is 900 warriors painted, and all the shields are technically different. Some of them might seem very much the same. but I tried to make them as different as I could. And yeah, it was a lot of painting, and it's a lot to show off. It's hard to actually get the whole army in camera here, but what I'll do is I'll just take the camera off its little stand here, and we'll get in a little closer. So here we go. So let's see here. These are the archers, all Baccus figures, all back when my painting was kind of suspect. Here's the more archers. Here's the javelins. Here's the warriors. Kind of looks like just like a big blob of color. It doesn't really look like an army, really. But I mean, if I take a look at each individual stand, you know, you can see there's enough detail there. And then we have the heavy cavalry. Not sure why the light doesn't like that side of me, but let's pick it up here. Getting some better light. Can I get better light here or no? It's the heavy cavalry. And here's the light cavalry. The light cavalry actually can be used for several, and so can the skirmishers and the archers. They can be used for several different armies. Like you can use them for Romans, you can use them for sometimes Greeks. So they're handy. It's just these blob of warriors are just really hard to. They're hard to count because there's so many of them, and you know, if I separate them into their separate units for Warmaster, you know, there's a lot of units. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 16 units of warriors, and I think, can't remember exactly, but if my memory's failing me here, maybe I think it's 10 units of warriors you need for a Gallic army in Warmaster. So, although I have 16, it's it's barely over the limit or the minimum. So there you have it, just a really quick video. I don't want to show them off too much because I'm actually kind of embarrassed at how the physical, although the shields look okay, the figures themselves are kind of basic, so there's not really a whole lot. If I zoom in here, there's really not a whole lot to discover about them. They're kind of very rudimentary. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to come back with, maybe I'll do my Persians next, I don't know, we'll see. And they're based for yet again another rule set. But eventually, I was going to say I'll settle on a rule set, but that's a lie. Well, we'll see them next. Thanks for tuning in.